about the importance of goal setting, why we all need it, not just within our business, but within our life as well, because I didn't set goals prior to forever. When did anybody ever say to you, where do you want to be in 5 years' time? The police did, because we used to have a review, and they'd say, so where do you want to be this time next year, Lise? What is it you'd like? And I'd say, right, well, I'd really like to go on a course for X, Y, and Z. Oh, there's none of them courses. Why have you asked me then? Because that's what I want to do, you know? But you can do that. So we never set goals. And I think that we need the focus, and we need those stepping stones to help us develop a business. As soon as we start, there are two things that we're asked to do. A who do you know list and a goal board. A reason why. There is a reason why that is page 2 and 3 of your First Steps to Manager booklet. Because the quicker that you connect with why you are building this business, I genuinely believe the quicker you will get to work and start to put in the activity to move you closer to the goals that you have set. So when I started, and Em was telling me that we needed to do a goal board, like a true student and leader, Em did hers. I didn't do mine. I wasn't buying into that because I knew what I needed, and that was money, just enough money to leave the place. But it was only when I really embraced putting onto that board not only what I wanted, but what my family wanted, and what the feelings that I would have when I'd paid off that debt, the feelings I'd had when I'd taken those children to Disney, that made me work. And we need those goals every single day to connect with on the days it gets tough. Give us a cheer if you've had a tough day in forever. Give us a cheer if you've had a great day in forever. And sometimes we let those not so good days consume us, and we need those goal boards and those goals and that big connection to keep us going. So I think every single person in the room, no matter where you are in your business, you have to stop and reflect where you are right now. Because for me, a reason why goes so much greater than just a want or even why you're doing it. I think it has to almost become a bit of a desperate need as to why you need to make this work. Even if that is £200 a month, what will that £200 a month go towards? How will that £200 a month make your life easier? If it is that you want to leave work and you want more time at home, well, why do you want more time at home? How will you feel when you get there? And what impact will that have on your family, your relationship? So I think we all need to have a look at where we are and have a look at your current level of dissatisfaction. Because unless you know where you are, then you don't know where it is that you need to get to. Because I don't think it matters where you are right now in your business. The only thing that matters is how committed you are to where you're going to be in 3 to 5 years' time. But you can't focus on that unless you really acknowledge where you are today. So when we're younger, we're encouraged to dream big. And I'm going to tell you a little story. So my little girl, she's 6 years old. And she said to me, Mummy, I want to drive a pink Range Rover. And I said, Evie, do not be so ridiculous. If they don't make them in pink, you certainly won't be able to afford one, and there's no way on God's given earth you'll be able to afford the insurance. Do you think that's what I said to my 6-year-old? Did I heck? Imagine I'd be the world's worst mother. I said, Evie Lily Prescott, you're going to have the best pink Range Rover. You're going to, be the coolest kid on the street. And if you want a pink Range Rover, babes, you go and get it. Because we encourage our children to dream big. And no goal that they set is too big or too ridiculous. Why is it then that we have these goals when we're younger and we let society knock them out of us? I know that every single one of you in this room can achieve everything that you want and much, much more. But you have to be brave enough to set that goal. Be brave enough to say, you know what? I want to collect a level 2 chairman's bonus cheque. To be able to look Rex in the eye and say, thank you, you've just paid my deposit on my house. Did I think when Emma told me that she'd found my ticket out at the police 2 years ago or 3 years ago, that that would happen? No. Did I believe I could do it? Absolutely. Why? Because other people had done it, and we're all given the same opportunity. They just either did it a little bit longer or believe that they can do it. So I want to encourage you all to really have a look at your goals. Dream big. Don't be afraid of saying, I want to be a 6-figure income earner. Don't be afraid of saying, I want a pink Range Rover. You know, because we know in this environment, or even out there, like some people will think that's ridiculous. We wouldn't. Make that the goal, get connected, and then it's about putting in the activity to make that goal a reality. You need somebody to be accountable to, somebody that you do not want to let down. I made a promise to my children, not to them, I didn't say it out loud because they're babies, they don't need to hear it, but I made a promise to those children that I would change their life beyond recognition. And that is exactly what I've done. It makes me so emotional saying that. I was brought up on the fact that you don't break a promise. If you're going to make it, then you make it happen. So I think when you're accountable to somebody else, sometimes I don't think it's yourself. Somebody else that you say, I will never let you down. Watch what happens next. Because it's about having focus in your business. We are all so easily distracted. Facebook, text, we can't even have a conversation, can we? Sometimes, and we've all done it, don't let me say it on my own, but Steve will say something, I'll go, yeah, and I think I've absolutely no idea what he's just said. It's shocking. Ever been out for dinner with a load of network marketers? What happens to old-fashioned conversation? We get so focused, so when you are on it, has anybody ever said, I am on it? Do me a favour, don't get off it. So when we are focused, we are on it, you've got your intensity because you know why you're doing it, you've got this solid reason why. Then it's about time. How long will it take? I've absolutely no idea. I don't know. Some people's journey goes a lot quicker, and some people, like I said to you today, take 10, 15 years to get there. But that's the journey, and I love what they've just said. Enjoy that journey, because we're so focused on where we're going, and I think that was brilliant what Becky said. So, I will leave you on another little story then. I am accountable to that little girl, and I have told her that as long as you try, no matter what you do, you try your best, because that's what I was brought up with, and that's what we encourage. So it was Sports Day not so long ago, and I feel genuinely grateful that I don't have to miss that. And I've told her that, you know, she can do anything if she sets her mind to it. She sets off running and loses a shoe. Shocking. She came last, clearly. But it's fine because she took part and it was brilliant. And then it was the mums race. I know I'm going to win this mums race, hands down. I know that. I'm so competitive. Am I taking part? Absolutely not. Any parents want to volunteer for the mums race? Steve looks at me and says, are you doing it? Am I? No, I am not doing it. And I looked over and I was directly opposite Eve, and she's like, go on, Mummy, you can do it. I'm like, no, babes, don't do it. Go on, Mummy. No, Evie, no, Evie. I was like, no. And I genuinely felt so anxious, like it hurt. There was no way I was doing that race. Why? Because I was bothered about myself, how I'd look, what if my shoe fell off? God, I'd look ridiculous, the mum at school if that happened. And I stopped and looked at her and I thought, I have taught that girl that you do anything. Even if you don't want to do it, you try hard. And so what if your shoe comes off and you know you lose the race? At least you can say I gave it a go. Feel the fear and do it anyway. So that was it, shoes were off. I was on that start line. Did I win the race? I'll leave you to decide that. But you know what? That feeling when that little girl ran up to me at the end, it was like, Mummy, you won the race. And I gave her my sticker, because I had a sticker, and I gave her and I said, Evie Lily, that is for you. And you know what? It's about setting the example. So really connect this year with why you were doing it. Get those goals on that fridge, because the feeling of taking one off and replacing it straight away with something else is an incredible feeling. And I redo my goal board all the time. There are things on there that I'm committed to achieving in 5 years' time. And the most recent one is getting some new alloys for my car, because I've curbed every single one. That's on my goal board. Could I go out and pay for it if I wanted to? Yeah. Can I justify that? No. So I've set it a goal, and you know, when I'm ready and I've got my global checks, I'm going to pay for that. But it's having everything on there that I'm connected to doing, and being okay with the fact that sometimes your goals change. Just take them off, reflect, see what's important, and set some new ones. So I'm going to be sharing the stage with 2 different people in the journeys. So one is an incredible lady. She's been in the business a very, very short space of time, but she got her head down and she built a business with speed. And I think it was the first year of business, did over 3,000 case credits. She built one of the, I think it was the 5th biggest open businesses in the UK. So it's safe to say she didn't do that by fluke, she did that by design. So can we ask Lucy Waterworth to come onto the stage?
Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. That was amazing. So, as she said, my name's Lucy Waterworth, and I started my business in October 2014, so it's just over 2 years ago now. I was on maternity leave, and I was in an insurance job, and I really didn't want to go back. But when I started the business, I thought, do you know what, I can just retail some products, and I can make a little bit of extra money so that I can go back part-time. But through the power of goal setting and seeing what's actually available to you in the business, it made me realise that I could take it so much further. So the reason that I thought I'd put this slide up was not to impress anybody in the room, but it is just to impress upon people what you can do if you goal set properly. So you've got to visualise yourself, you've got to kind of look at yourself and think, right, this is what I want out of life, and this is how I can apply my business to it. And the only way you can do it is by properly setting your goals out. So I achieved the supervisor promotion within 6 weeks of starting my business, and it meant that at the end of 2014 I was a supervisor and our team did 19 case credits. I knew that in January I wanted to go assistant manager because I was due back at work in the March, and the last thing that I wanted to do was go back to that place. No offence to the call centre, I made some amazing friends there, but I just did not want to put my son into childcare. It's not what I wanted to do. And I had to work evenings and weekends. So for me, that was my family time with my son and my now husband. So I knew that I had to get something done and I had to do it quickly. So I set my sights as an assistant manager, and that's exactly what we did at 66 case credits in the January. Now, because of that momentum that we'd created within our team, I actually achieved the manager position 19 days later on 101 case credits in February. Thank you. All thanks to those guys up there. And at the end of the year, through setting my goals further than just manager, I finished the year on 3,698 case credits, senior manager, global rally, Eagle, chairman's bonus, 100 club, network professional, so I got my suitcase as well, and carp on level 3 as well. Now, like I said to you before, thank you. So like I said to you before, it's not really to put it out there just to kind of show off to anybody, but just to show you that I set all those things out for that year. Now, I don't know whether I 100% kind of believed that I would achieve every single thing that I'd put on that list, but I knew that I was going to work really, really hard, and even if I didn't do it in that year, I would do it, you know, in the next year or the year after that. But because I'd properly goal set it and I'd visualised it, and I'd visualised myself on the stage getting my promotions and things like that, I knew that I could do it. So it's no coincidence, that's just the power of proper goal setting. I love that photo. So you've got to be emotionally connected to your reason why and why you're doing the business. It's got to be further than just an income. Now, it might be that, you know, when you speak to a new business owner, that they just want financial freedom, and obviously that's an amazing thing, but you have to see past that. What can that financial freedom give you? So for me, my why is my family. It's always going to be my husband, my son, and obviously my baby girl that's due in March. So it's given us time together, So not only do I spend more time with my son and my husband, but my husband has also been able to use that time and that extra income to be able to start his own electrical company as well. So he's been able to follow his own dream. So we both work for ourselves, which means more family time together. The choices it's given us, so like I said, Lee's been able to start his own business, but we can spend more time with Lee's family, with my family, with our friends. We're able to go on holiday. We're able to take Eli on so many different holidays, and he's seen lots of the world already, and that's something that we would never have been able to do in our old jobs. The lifestyle as well. So I never thought that I would go to places like Cancun, South Africa. I would be going to Dubai if I'd timed my pregnancy better. But my baby is due 5 days before we fly, so we're not going to risk it. But things like that, I never thought I would ever be able to afford holidays like that, and Forever can give you that as well. And no more worries. I know I can speak for a lot of people in this room that money worries are one of the most crippling. And, you know, when I got pregnant, I wanted a child so much, but I did kind of worry, how on earth are we going to afford this? You know, statutory maternity pay is not a lot, and it really did kind of make me think, oh God, I hope we can, I hope we can get through this. I hope we're going to be okay. So there's my goal board there. Got pictures of my reason why at the top, and then obviously all the things that we want to achieve over the next couple of years. So this is my updated goal board. So it has to be current. How many people in the room have made a goal board because their upline told them to, and then just never changed anything on it? Because I know there's a lot of people in my team that have done it because they've told me. Now, I'll be honest, when my cousin Verity, who's my sponsor, told me to do a goal board, I thought she was joking. I thought she was being ridiculous. I'd never heard of a goal board. And when she said you've got to cut and stick things onto a board that you want, I thought it was a bit crazy. So I didn't do one for about 3 to 6 months. And then I thought, right, if I'm telling my team to do something, I've got to do it myself. So that's when I thought, I'm going to get this goal board sorted. So when you've got your goal board there, are you ticking them off? Because I was talking to Sean Cooper in the back there, and he said there's nothing more rewarding than looking at that goal board at the end of the year and ticking things off that you've achieved. So are you doing that, and then are you adding fresh goals to replace the ones you've ticked off? Is it hanging somewhere you can see? Are you guilty of just kind of doing your goal board and then putting it somewhere and never looking at it again until the end of the year? Mine's hung up in my office, so literally every time I walk past my office to go down the stairs, I see it. So I'll look at my goal board at least 3 or 4 times a day. And have you been specific? So you might want a new house, you might want a new car, you might want a holiday, but you've got to be specific about what you actually want. So what kind of car do you want? What colour is it? What's the interior like? What make is it? If you want a house, what house? Is it detached? Has it got a big garden? Is it in the countryside? Or maybe you want one in the centre of London. You've got to be really specific, because if you do that and you have a look at your goal board every single day and you see those really specific goals, you're going to work a lot harder to achieve them. So we've got to forward plan. So what I mean by that is, when I said to you that I knew I wanted to achieve manager, I didn't just set my sights on manager, I forward planned past that. So as soon as I'd achieved that supervisor promotion, I was already thinking about senior manager, I was already thinking about car plan or eagle manager. Forward planning is what helps you push yourself forward. A lot of people will get to manager and slow down. The momentum stops because they feel like, I wanted to get to manager was on my goal board, they get there and then they just stop. So you've got to forward plan. Break down your goals into stepping stones. So, it's quite an obvious thing to say really, but if you want to get to supervisor, if you want to get to assistant manager, you've got to break it down. How are you going to get there? How many case credits do you need? How many case credits per day is it in that month to achieve that particular promotion that you want? Make yourself accountable. So me and Anna Terry are accountability buddies. So what that means is that we, at the end of each day, will message each other and let each other know what we've done that day, just to kind of keep ourselves motivated. Because sometimes if you're just being accountable to yourself, you can just think, I'll just do that tomorrow. Anna scares me. So although we're really, really close friends, I don't tell her that I've not done anything that day. So it really helps. Use whiteboards to track progress. So if you've got a goal, for example, manager, or maybe it's Eagle manager and you need to know how far your supervisors are away, if you've got those whiteboards and you're marking it down each time, you know exactly where you are and there's no guessing at the end, there's no scraping on the last day of the month. And never underestimate the power of ticking off that goal. So as I said to you before, there is no better feeling than a goal board that you've maybe done with your husband or your children, and at the end of the year you can look at that and think, everything that I said I was going to do this year, I've done. You don't ever feel like you've wasted that year. You know that everything that you set out to do, you've managed to achieve that. So never underestimate the power of that feeling. So I hope that's helped. And I think we're passing over to Peter Kemble now. So thank you very much, everybody, and happy Christmas.
So we're going to introduce our next speaker. Peter has been building a business for nearly 20 years now with Forever, so it completely shows the difference of having somebody build a business in a short space of time and somebody that brings stability, because speaking to him backstage, I said to him, you know, I bet you've seen so much over the last 20 years, you know, and I think he's going to have a wealth of knowledge. He's used goal setting, not just within Forever, but prior to that for what he was doing beforehand. So if we can invite Peter Kemble to the stage.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon. As Lisa said, we've been in the business a long time, nearly 20 years. And obviously been around the world rather a lot longer than 20 years as well. And I have to say that goals have played a major impact. And I just want to use our story to illustrate the importance of having goals, because I have to confess, for the majority of my life, I have not had clear goals. One of the first things that I realized about goals, though, was that this saying by Jim Rohn is so true. And I also want to share a few things and a few words, a few sayings that have also I've found have had a major impact. And I noticed when we came into Forever that people who were achieving had got major goals. And so that was the first thing that taught me in Forever. But clearly, the first thing about it is to have one. And when I was a boy, I did know what I wanted. At about 12, I think, I knew I wanted to be a veterinary surgeon. And I knew what I had to do. So I had a plan. I knew I had to pass my O-levels in those days. I knew I had to get into the sixth form, pass A-levels. I knew I had to get to university, pass a degree. But there was a problem. Although I had that plan, I didn't believe in it. I didn't believe in me. I didn't think that I could do all that. I was messing around at school. And I clearly remember one day going into the third year, starting your O-level syllabus, a master who I had greatest respect for came up. Oh, didn't come up. He saw me walking down the corridor. He said, "Kemble, here a moment." Sir? I said, "Kemble, do you know you can do better than this? Just think about it, will you?" And he walked off and left me standing on the stage, left me standing in the corridor. And that was it. That few words, that almost throwaway line, but he was a good man. He was doing his job. He was looking out for pupils in the school. But he will probably never know just how much of an impact that has made, because those words, "Kemble, you can do better," have stayed with me, because I always believe that if you want to and if you try, you can do better. And so, one thing led to another then. I did it. I got out of the bottom stream. I got into the top stream. I passed sufficient O levels. I got my A levels. I went to university. July 1961, I'm qualified to be a veterinary surgeon. No. I also had a plan and a strategy. I didn't want just to be a veterinary surgeon. I wanted to have my own practice. I wanted my own business. My grandfather, another very influential man in my life. I remember him saying to me as a very small boy, "Peter, you don't get rich working for anybody else." And that stayed with me as well. So I got a strategy for becoming boss of a practice. And by January 1971, I was senior partner, boss, in control of a well-established practice in Luton. And then guess what? It's a bit like what happens with a lot of people when they get to manager. That's it, you've done it. And I then didn't have, I was 32 then, and I then didn't have any more really clear goals. I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to retire eventually, and I wanted to go somewhere different. I hadn't even decided where. And I wanted to go and see the world, and I hadn't decided where. So come January 1997, I'm not in the position where I wanted to be. And this was beginning to weigh rather heavily on me. I hadn't come across this saying then. This is something I heard on an audio tape shortly after we'd started with Forever. Time is the only thing you can't recreate. And if you're looking at what you want to achieve, why wait? Why wait? You know, if you spend £5, you can earn another £5. Every £5 note has got the same value. However, spend 5 minutes and it's gone and it cannot be repeated, and that's it. So be very careful, be wise how you spend your time. When you're approaching your 9th decade, that becomes blatantly obvious. So what happened? We got to manager in 6 months. I wrote a letter of resignation after 10. I was out of the practice by the end of February 98. And by 1999, I knew where we wanted to go. But when we joined Forever, goal setting became important. We were told to do it. And I carried a photograph in my A4 filofax, which is what you used to have in 1997. True. And in the front of that was a picture of a building plot in the Lake District. Cumbria is where we wanted to be. And May 99, we moved here. With the income we were making in Forever, we had great fun developing the house, the garden, a hot tub. You could see 4 valleys. You could see the whole of the northwest corner of the Lake District. We'd decide where it looked best to go for a walk. But also, Forever taught me something else. It opened my eyes to what else is possible if you really set your goals. Not a well-known name, that man, but another man who made a big impression. First man to have walked to both North and South Poles, and at the Managers' Retreat in 1998 in Cambridge, talking about planning expeditions, and me sitting there looking at this guy thinking, how fantastic. I want to explore. I want to go and see places in the world. I want to go where other people haven't been. And there he is, an ordinary guy, ordinary build, ordinary everything, except he'd done what he'd done. And then he said that. And I thought, Peter, come on, get on with it. If you want to do the things you're saying you want to do, get up your backside and get the skills and start doing something about it. So I did. And the result of that was 4 years later, I'm on an expedition to the Tian Shan Mountains, When I first saw the name, I didn't even know where they were. I had to look on the map. It's the chain of mountains linking into the big range ending up with the Himalayas on the borders of Kyrgyzstan and China. That was proper off-road driving. 3 days of overland travel to get to the base camp, to an advanced base camp, to climbing Prescott Peak with the expedition leader and the expedition doctor. The thing about it is, nobody had stood there before. That was the first recorded ascent. More trips. I had acquired some basic skills in mountaineering, but in 1998, I knew nothing about more other than how to hold an ice axe and how to put on a pair of crampons. So I acquired the skills bit by bit, going with people who did know. And I put to bed in 2006 a major problem of how to manage to walk on a ridge without feeling dizzy or about walling off the edge of it. Monte Rosa, the highest lump of mountains in the Alps, bar Mont Blanc. We also badly wanted Australia. At the end, and in 2007, after the global rally and the company taking us to Hawaii, we just continued westward and had 11 weeks in Australia, 4 of them in that bush camper, traveling and exploring the remote northwest of York, Cape York in the tropical Queensland. Fantastic adventure by ourselves, just with a telephone, a satellite phone for backup. The wildlife, absolutely amazing. I'm a bird watcher from age of 10. I added 350 odd different species of birds to my list, driving on the Barrier Reef. Hazel always wanted to go to the Everest Base Camp. We did a 3-week trek in 2010. Hazel developed high-altitude pulmonary edema. We ended up being airlifted off from over 5,000 meters. A bit exciting because helicopters don't really work much over 5,000 meters. That's Everest, taken from Kalapaktar, bottom left corner. And lastly, one of my early goals had been to climb the Dent Blanche so that I could take a photograph of the Matterhorn standing level with it. You don't have to wait until you're getting almost too old to do these things. Remember, time is the only thing you can't recreate. And that did take just about everything I had physically and mentally to get to the top. But remember another quote that a real favorite of mine, ending up the famous quote of Calvin Coolidge, "Press on. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent." But a major business goal had been to achieve Chairman's Bonus Level 2, inspired by a very good friend, Andy Waring, when I saw what the effect that had had on his business some years earlier. And we achieved that in 2015 and had the most amazing experience at Global Rally at Johannesburg this year. So excited to have our team with us and around us for what was a fabulous celebration. Thank you, guys. We weren't going to come back from Johannesburg in a hurry, though. We then had a fortnight in Namibia, driving from lodge to lodge. I'd wanted ever since a small boy to see the wildlife of South Africa. But today, what forever gives us is lifestyle. To live in a beautiful valley in Cumbria, with our house surrounded by our own land. Chairman's Bonus gave us the ability to purchase 20-odd more acres of land with fell rights, so that the woods and the valleys you see in the sunlight there are ours around the house. We have the right to walk the fells and graze our sheep on the fells above it. Hazel's carving out a new career in a dog agility competition. She not only makes me jump through the hoops, she makes the dog as well. You know, this is an opportunity, forever is an opportunity to design your life. It's been my pleasure to share some of that with you. We still have our goals to do. There's still a lot on my bucket list still to tick off. And there it is, a blue sky for you to design your own life in. What are your goals? Because forever is a vehicle which will allow you to do anything, be anything, have anything, achieve anything you want to be. Forever is like the word, forever. I am forever. Thank you.